Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our Chats with Emily, as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We use the Johnson edition for this series, and we are now in this brief poem, number 331, While Asters, the second line being On the Hill. Now, the background here matters, or this is going to be a difficult poem for you to read and understand. This poem, along with 329, 330, were sent to Boyles, who was traveling in Europe from April to mid-November of 1862. And that's significant because this is going to be another poem in line with those two other poems about Emily missing out, missing her pal, and the like. We're also going to see some religious language being played with here. Now, our assumptions are that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net, down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful that you've already worked through our set of introductory comments, and I'm hopeful that you've worked through our preceding 330 poems. And as I say, especially the last two will help you to be able to read this poem. Now, what makes this poem interesting is that we're going to see these four lines again when we hit poem 342. We'll end with that study. So let's go to it. While asters on the hill their everlasting fashions set, and covenant Jensen's frill. Now, the fact that everlasting and covenant gets used, this religious language, I think, can play rather nicely into our study. By the way, when we start with asters, we're back to poem 60. You'll remember this, and Emily's, of course, love of asters and Jensen's back to poem 18. When we're asking now with this, all of this four set of lines, all of it hinges on the word while. What really is going on here is what Emily is saying is, while you are traveling in Europe, this is what's happening back here. Asters on the hill, their everlasting fashions, that is to say, asters and Jensen's are autumn flowers, yes. Their everlasting fashions set. In other words, life goes on, if you will, and covenant Jensen's frill. In other words, what is she saying? I miss you, and while you are gone, these kinds of fall activities are happening. The fact that she uses everlasting and covenant, of course, this religious language, makes the whole notion of being absent a sacred kind of thing, we might say. By the way, Jensen's ends up in 6 different poems. Now, this poem, is actually a subset of 342. And that poem will read like this. It'll be summer eventually. Ladies with parasols sauntering, gentlemen with canes, and little girls with dolls will tint the pallid landscape as 'twere a bright bouquet. Though drifted deep in Parian, the village lies today. The lilacs bending many a year will sway with purple low. The bees will not despise the tune their forefathers have hummed. The wild rose redden in the bog, the aster on the hill, her everlasting fashion set in covenant Jensen's frill, till summer folds her miracle as women do their gown, or priests adjust the symbols when sacrament is done. I find it interesting that, again, the religious language to finish 342. I think at 2a it's very simple. It's hard. Her argument is it's hard to miss your pal. It's hard to be separated from the ones you care about. At 2b, notice that really what we're saying here without saying it, while I miss you, in other words, while all these things are happening, I miss you, or I wish you were back. At 3a, of course, all of the poems of Emily that contain that sense of longing, that sense of dislocation from the one she cares about. Obviously, 342 comes to mind. Finally, at 3b, what was a time when you missed your pal? And what kind of language did you invent to try to say, hey, I miss you? Thank you.